Kai and Louise looked at me, clearly unsure how to proceed. Okay, I said finally, but only under the condition that we get to count the donations after and that I get to hold the donation basket at the entrance while still wearing my costume. My dad laughed and Janine gave us a wry grin. If that's what you want, sure. He generously gave in to my wishes. Can Bubblegum play the role of the Christ child? I asked, and when my dad didn't answer immediately, I turned around and asked Bubblegum himself. Hey, Bubblegum, what do you think? Would you like to be baby Jesus for a night? He looked at me with the porridge dripping from the corner of his mouth and joyfully exclaimed, Yes! Generously spraying about 50% of the table the porridge from the corner of his mouth. You'll have to spend the entire time laying still and don't move, added my dad very seriously. Do you really want that? There, my little brother started shaking his head violently and fiercely said, No. Now decorating the remaining 50% of the table with porridge as well. Ah, so well, said my dad. Now that we've got that out of the way, Bubblegum doesn't take his last chance to ever play the Christ child because next year he's definitely going to be too old. He looked back over to us. If you want, you can visit the sisters Colonel and bring them some of the biscuits I bought on the Christmas market in Althütten. That was the nearest city around Mitchell. They are old and don't get around a lot anymore. Oh no, do we have to? Whined Kai. It's our holidays. Shouldn't we have to work less instead of more? I'm strongly disagreeing here. I kicked him under the table to get him to shut up and said loudly and clearly, It's not a bother, Dad. We're doing it. Kai and Louise both shot me a glare, and I had to wait until after breakfast to tell them why I had agreed so quickly to my dad's offer. So quickly, in fact, that my dad had given me a very surplused look, a look that said, Huh, Anna? That's the least thing I expected from you. Usually you'd prefer over going on the little errands I sent you on. No way you don't have an ulterior motive. What I can say, my dad did know me pretty well, because I did indeed have an ulterior motive, though not a particularly insidious one. What happened during breakfast? Asked Kai. Why did you have to kick me under the table, and why did you agree to visit these weird neighbors of yours? Do I look like Saint Nicholas? Have you forgotten our list of suspects? I asked back. Kai laboriously fumbled the list out of his pants pockets that he had squeezed it into the previous day. He read through the names and shook his head. I don't see any Sisters Colonel on here. Of course not, I said. My dad just happened to use the actual name instead of Janine's nickname today. Remember, she called them Sisters Apple and Pear. Ah. Louisa and Kai finally understood. If we bring them a batch of cookies, I continued to explain, we have the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to look around a bit and maybe cross off 2 of our suspects already. I suddenly had another thought. When we are already at it, I think we could cross off the Langhars as well. I had a couple play dates with their little daughter. I'm sure she would have told me sometime while playing Lego, Hey Anna, did you know my parents once found a key to the parsonage in the drain? Now I can visit you whenever because my parents have a key and I can just go in and out whenever I want. That makes sense, said Kai. Girls are notoriously bad at keeping secrets. It goes against their natural tendencies to gossip about anything and everything all the time. Watch your mouth, warned Louise. And boys are better at keeping secrets? Obviously, said Kai, with a conviction that came from somewhere deep inside his chest. That's why there's a lot more spies than lady spies in spy movies. Kai definitely watched too much TV, and I would bet my left shoe that a lot of the movies he watched weren't meant for the eyes of an 8-year-old. Doesn't matter, I said. Anyway, I just wanted to say that we can probably cross the Langhas off our list. Kai and Louise decided to put faith in my experiences, and Kai drew a thick line over the name. Here are the biscuits, said Janine, and handed us a small Christmas-themed plastic bag. The sisters are a little peculiar. They don't just let anyone walk into their house. But when he last visited, your dad promised to give them homemade cookies from the Christmas market, so there's a good chance they let you in. You can't catch a breath in this house, huh? Grumbled Kai to himself, and silently complained about something that sounded suspiciously like child labor. I just hissed a small and well-intentioned "shut up" into his direction and was on my way down the staircase. There, I immediately saw the huge cardboard sign my dad had put up in the middle of the room. It read, "Whoever sleeps below the table is perfectly clean up after yourself able." Huh? What? Said Kai in utter confusion after he'd read the contents of the sign out loud. What is that even supposed to mean? That's my dad's way of telling us to put the blankets and mattresses back into the closet, I explained calmly. He likes acting a little unhinged, and poetry is one of his passions. He has somehow been overcome with the notion that he could sing his poems. It sounds terrific. It makes you want to run away, turn deaf, or at least close your ears. Can he not scold and nag and scream like any other reasonable father would? Grumbled Kai again, and started helping me and Louise to clean up the remains of our burglar trap sleepover. It took us half an hour because we'd suddenly noticed that the pillows had the perfect size and firmness for a pillow fight. We kept going until Kai accidentally hit the porcelain lamp that was only held up by a thin chain, and Kai hit strong enough to send it near falling onto the floor. That's when we came back to our senses and went back to our actual job and put on appropriate clothes for the winter wonderland outside. Chapter 11, in which we visit our first suspects. Once outside, I started enthusiastically looking around the windows. What are you doing? Kai and Louise both gave me questioning looks. Well, see you little idiots, I started on to enlighten them. I'm seeing if the thief left any new footprints since yesterday evening. That way we marched around the entire house once more. In the end, all we gained from it were a couple of freezing toes instead of a new lead on our case. So, he really wasn't here last night, Kai commented as we were on our way to visit the sisters Apple and Pear a few meters down the road. No, I repeated. Why doesn't he stop by every night and takes all the money there is? I don't get it. He always had the money right in front of him. No one was stopping him. He could have snatched it up and been on his way. That's stupid. If he already risks being caught every time he steals from here, he could at least make the theft worthwhile.